Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We are Sandboni, and we'll explain what Sandboni is all about in just a second here. We are passing around a little bit of a survey. If you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to fill that out, it would be greatly appreciated. Just asking for suggestions, what you thought of the presentation, so on and so forth. Sorry, I do this for a living. I get up and talk all the time. I'm not used to holding a microphone in front of me, though. Usually I'm loud enough that everybody can hear me, so this is a little different for me. All right, so again, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes when all is said and done to fill that survey out for us, because we hope to present in other locations other than just here, and of course, there's always room for improvement, so we would greatly appreciate that. All right, so with that, so this is Sandboni, right? If anyone's been to a hockey game or been to an ice rink, I'm sure we're all used to seeing something like this called a Sandboni that goes on the ice rink to clean out that cleans out the ice rink for us. All right, that's kind of where the idea came from. We created the Sandboni, right? And the Sandboni has nothing to do with hockey, nothing to do with the ice. This is for the beach, right? What we've done is we've created this motorized cart that goes on the beach, and you're seeing one of them right in front of us here. That sells snow cones, this one does iced coffee, but the inspiration and everything came from 40 years of playing hockey and not wanting to be in cold weather anymore. So. All right, so who we are. My dad over here, Bill, is the chief engineer. He is retired. He needed a job, and he is mechanically inclined, right? Myself, I got tired of babysitting him, is what it came down to, right? He's been retired for the last couple of years. I have a company that does training, software training for Dell computers, as well as EMC, and I've been doing that for the last 15 or so years now. I, however, am not allowed to use power tools unless I'm supervised. And that is an honest to goodness story. My mother actually made him come check on me one time when I had a drill in hand. So with that being said, that's who we are. And our whole concept of this was, what can we do that's fun and easy? And that's where this whole thing came from, right? So just to kind of rub it in a little bit, and the regulars, Paul and Dave, you guys aren't used to seeing me in pants and a shirt. I'm usually wearing shorts, flip-flops, and a t-shirt. And now you know why, right? So your day at the office looks something like this. Our day at the office looks something like this, right? This thing goes up and down the beach, and this is what we do all day long. Sell snow cones, sell iced coffee, so on and so forth. They say that big things have small beginnings, so where it all started, right? We like to compare ourselves to the big names, the Apples, the Googles, right? How they all started in the garage? Well, yeah, so did we. Except our garage is a little bit different than that. Our fabrication studio, our paints, it's all in his garage. All right, we cleaned it out, and that's where we build these things to start off with. How it all started, this was a complete joke. We're sitting at the beach one day, wanting to aggravate my uncles, his brothers, who live back in Pittsburgh, because it's the middle of January, February, right? So we're thinking, how can we aggravate them to let them know that we are sitting at the beach in January while they're shoveling snow? It started with, oh, we should build a bar, right? We should build a bar, put it on the beach, and we could just sit here and take photos and send it to everybody up north. But neither one of us are big drinkers, so it kind of fell through. Then we just started brainstorming, went from smoothies to so on and so forth, to where we ended up with the snow cones, right? We still had no idea. We went online, we looked, we couldn't find anybody that sold anything like this or anybody that created anything like this whatsoever. So, use your imagination. I bought a Barbie Jeep. I have 2 daughters. They're 13 and 14 right now, right? So I had one of these. I had a 3-car garage. That's the only vehicle that fit in the garage. So it started with the Barbie Jeep. I bought one off of some guy on Craigslist. I didn't have the heart to tell him I was tearing the thing apart so that we could somehow build this product. I had it strapped to the roof of my Jetta driving down 95. So you can imagine the looks I was getting as I was taking this thing home. That's what we started with, right? We got it home, we took it apart, and then we started building from there, just to kind of get an idea of what we needed to do, right? So we used some of the components of the Barbie Jeep, the wheels, the motors, the steering mechanism, so on and so forth, and we just kept building off of it, and you can see we built it out of 1x2s just to kind of get an idea as to what we needed to do. Obviously, this wasn't what we were looking for, right? But it at least got us started. From there, we somehow ended up with using a wheelchair. We took an electric wheelchair apart. And from there, we started getting different wheels, so on and so forth. And using this wheelchair, we actually have a motorized cart because there's no way that we could push this thing up and down the beach. It weighs about 500 pounds. So with this wheelchair motor, we were able to self-propel it down the beach. And you can see here just a quick video showing you how this thing did actually move on its own. We just used the joystick from the wheelchair. Sorry, he knows I had to put that part in there. But that's where we progressed. We went from the Barbie Jeep to an electric wheelchair and everything else in between. We went through carts and wheels, you name it, we went through it. This was our first year's model, okay? We realized the type of tires, the type of motor, so on and so forth. To where we ended up last summer, we actually have a cart made for us. The base is made for us at a company out of California because it got down to the point where we realized time and money. The amount of time that we would have spent to create the cart, the motor, the wheels, blah, 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 it was just worth it for us to find somebody who's already figured that out. So we buy the base from a company in California, and then we build upon top of that, right? We build the shell and so on and so forth. And that's how we ended up with the shaved ice, which is what we had last year. Now, the great thing about this is, nobody asked us to do this. We didn't have a go, we didn't have a yes. No one had any idea we were doing this. One day we decided, all right, let's take this over to Cocoa Beach, right? So we actually did. We went to the town of Cocoa, and we told them what we were doing. And they told us, take a hike, right? We went to the city of Cape Canaveral, same thing. This is what we're thinking, this is what we've built, so on and so forth. The very first thing, absolutely not. They would not let us do this because there's an ordinance against having motorized carts on the beach. So we kept at it, we were a little persistent, if you will, and we finally took it over and showed them. And they said, wow, this is pretty cool. With that being said, we presented it in front of City Council for the City of Cape Canaveral. They gave us a 6-month trial run. They said, listen, after 6 months, we'll see how this goes, so on and so forth. As you can see, after that 6-month trial, they then turned around and gave us a 5-year agreement. We are the only ones who have the permit that can be on the beach in Cape Canaveral that can go up and down the beach and sell these things, these motorized carts, right? As a matter of fact, this past May, they contacted us because they wanted another one. And that's how we ended up with the iced coffee, right? So we have the snow cone cart, we came up with the iced coffee cart, and we'll be out on the beach again, hopefully here in the next spring break. We'll start back up again. The market, right? What is the idea was, okay, it's a fun little business. Let's go on the beach, let's sell some snow cones, let's send some photos to our relatives back north to annoy them of what we're doing with our lives down here, right? That was the whole part of this. And then we realized, holy crap, if we had $1 for every time somebody came to us and said, oh, I had that idea, I thought about doing that, but I just never did it. We said, well, we did it, right? We spent the time, we spent the money, we actually went and built this thing. So the market, what we thought was a complete joke and was supposed to be a fun little side business, has kind of blossomed and turned into something else. Our idea is to not go up and down the beach selling snow cones and coffee. That's not what I want to do with the rest of my life. The idea is to take the cart itself and market it out. Either franchise, sell, so on and so forth. So where we'd like to go with this, and where we think we can start, are the hotels on the beach, right? I take my kids on vacation all the time. we go to the beach, we're sitting there, and what happens is, I'm sure if you've been there as well, a server comes out, takes your order, right? Then they have to turn around, run back up into the hotel, into the bar, have it made, so on and so forth, turn around and bring it back out to you 15, 20 minutes later. Or, and I've seen it before myself, they have those golf carts, right? They're a gasoline-powered golf cart that goes up and down the beach, which is annoying as all can be, just listening to that thing all day long. This thing's electric, right? It's quiet, it doesn't make any sound whatsoever, and you can literally pull right up next to somebody and do whatever you want to do right there. So our initial market, we believe, and we could be completely wrong, but we believe would be the hotel industry, right? For them to be able to take these right onto the beach, serve their customers right onto the beach. And again, these aren't the only models that we're thinking of. We've thought about some other areas as well. College campuses. A girl came up to us last year and said, do you guys do anything else? This would be a great idea for me to have on a college campus somewhere up in Eastern Pennsylvania, out near Philadelphia. This would be a great idea for me to have up on the college campus. I could walk up all day long selling coffee, right? To street vendors, to farmers markets. Again, it is the Sandboni, right? It is the beach-going thing. So just to kind of give you an idea, there are the number of miles of coastline in Australia, in Europe, so on and so forth, as well as here in the United States, right? We have over 4,000 miles of coastline here in the United States, from California to Hawaii, Texas, New Jersey, and working its way down into Florida, where we have over 1,300 miles of coastline here, right? I can't even think of the number of hotels. I couldn't even find the number of hotels that are just on the beach. But again, you can get the idea of where we're going with this. We don't want to just stay with the shaved ice and the coffee, even though we think those are the two biggest things. We'd like to eventually branch out. Now, one of the nice things about it is this cart itself, the coffee cart, can be converted into a bar, right? Within a few minutes, it can turn from making a caramel iced coffee to a margarita. It really is that simple. So we would like to market this out to, again, to the hotel industry. Here's your bar that you take on the beach. Here's your snow cone for the kids. Here's the iced coffee, so on and so forth. To, smoothies, so on and so forth. We don't know what the limit is, but we know what we're going to concentrate on to start off with. Who's our competition? This was one of the toughest things we don't know, right? Because if you've been to the beaches, you've seen these guys pushing their little coolers down the beach, right, where they've got their little ice cream bars and their dry ice and so on. They're pushed, it's not motorized one, right? There's nothing electric on it, so they can't make anything. Everything has to be pre-made. So it's extremely difficult for us to find who makes a product like this. So some of the competitors that are out there, and you can see the push carts, the Italian ice, so on and so forth. And we did a little comparison. None of these can go on the beach. Some of them are electric, some of them are not electric. Some of them have the ability to, make a smoothie, a shaved ice. Some of them don't. But in terms of who goes on the beach, we really don't have one yet that we can say that we're competing against. There's a wonderful world of Kona, right? Again, it's not really a competition because they've got their trucks, we're on the beach. But just to kind of give you an idea of where we would like to go with this in terms of franchising, so on and so forth, and you can see here, it's $100,000 and some to start up with a Kona franchise. That's a lot of snow cones, right? The return on the investment, it's going to sound ridiculous. Just this little park that we go to over at Cape Canaveral, it's called Cherry Down Park. We counted, there's 80 parking spaces there. When we're out there from about 11 a.m. till 3 p.m., 3:30 at the latest is usually the time, we average about 100 snow cones a day, shaved ice a day. There's about 100 calendar years that we can be on the beach, right? I mean, we could be out there now, but let's be honest, it's 60 degrees, no one's buying snow cones. And you can see with 100 days and what our price is, what the return on investment is for doing something like this, right? And what are we looking for? We're looking for suggestions. We're looking, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to fill out that survey for us and give us the feedback. We're always open to ideas and suggestions, and we have always said along the way, there's probably always a better way of doing something than what we thought of. And again, the number of people that have helped us along the way, from family and friends and so on, it's been ridiculous. And we're constantly changing on this because somebody else has a better idea or a better way of doing something. And that's what Rupert always talks about, the pivot. We do it every day with this card. Every single day something changes because we think of a better way of doing it. So with that, that's pretty much who we are and what we've come up with. So, questions?
Thank you.
Questions? Don't be shy.
What's your target production cost?
Right now, we're at around $5,000 in materials. That does not include labor. These are built out of aluminum and fiberglass. We would like to get to the point where the entire shell is a one-piece fiberglass mold. Would obviously cut down drastically on material costs. Right now, we're around $5,000.
That's material only.
That's material. That's this entire thing right here, from the cart up, is around $5,000. Material only. The number of hours, I couldn't begin to tell you.
It's a prototype that works.
You have a long way to go.
Yes, we do. We know that.
My suggestion is you do some market research. Get with your hotels, the people who are decision makers there, find out what they will pay,
Right.
then determine what they will pay if you can get down the production costs where you can make a profit, and then you have a business.
Right. And that's where we are with it right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, we should be able to get that cost down to about $2,500.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think if you get it down to $2,500, then you can generate a viable business model.
Yeah.
with
Do we have a question? Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, just curious, what's the battery life for the car?
We've taken it up and down the beach probably about 4 to 5 miles, and it's never come off the full charge yet. In terms of the number of years that we can use this, we'll be going on year number 3 right now with this car. So, but yeah, in terms of running out of the battery on the beach, we've gone at least 5 to 6 miles, and it's never come off the full charge on this thing. Again, you're going about 1 mile per hour down the beach. It's not like you're racing somebody. So yeah, it's never a problem with that.
No, we need to have Sandboni races.
Another quick cool thing, I don't know if you guys have looked into like music festivals too, because there's a lot of people, and a lot of times they have these separate areas for getting refreshments and stuff, and it's kind of a frustrating thing traveling so far. You guys have that automated moving through, it might be something cool to look into.
Yeah, so for instance, this weekend in Cocoa Beach at Shepherd Park they're doing their first annual, which I think is kind of ironic, the first annual Christmas tree burning on the beach, where they're having a movie screen, right, for the kids and we will literally be able to park right next to the movie screen on the beach and serve snow cones and coffee. So yeah, but that makes us, and when we were explaining to the lady who's organizing it, she's like, well, what kind of a space do you need? Are you near the food trucks? And I'm like, we can pull right up next to the movie screen if you want us to. And she just thought that was the greatest thing ever, so yeah. But we do festivals over at the beach as well. Thanks.
Does the person purchase that, for lack of a better word, naked? In other words, they can market whatever they want to market?
Yeah, I mean, we would like to get to the point where we have 4 or 5 different models, if you will, right? The coffee, the shaved ice, the bar cart. In terms of, when you're asking naked, are you talking about the signage? Are you talking about just the shell?
Well, let's say I wanted to market tabbouleh and hummus and Middle Eastern food.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
You can put on whatever graphics you would like.
You can, In terms of the graphics, you can do whatever you want. In terms of how things are set up over here, there's plenty of opportunity for things to be over here as well. And right now we have a blender, right, to blend up the coffee, to make blended coffee, and then we have a rinser. It's a battery-operated rinser. If you've ever been to the bar where they turn the pitcher upside down and the thing shoots up and sprays the inside to clean it, we have one of those built into this as well to clean the pitchers out when you're making that. But in
Right, so
terms
you would deliver it with whatever signage, logos, complete like that. Okay.
we could, yes.
Good.
Okay. Could I buy the cart without that and outfit it myself?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we're going to look into this summer is at Coco is taking a blank cart and selling off the advertisement to one of the surf shops or restaurants that are up over in Cocoa Beach.
Let me also suggest, you say you're getting these from California?
The base.
The base, the cart and the wheels itself, that comes from California. This part is what we build.
Okay, I would suggest that there are a lot of local fabricators, especially because of Disney, that you would explore the local market. I think it might make it easier to get it and possibly reduce your cost.
Absolutely, that's something else that the cart that we started off with was, the model was already there, he had already built it, proven it, that's why we started off with that. We've already modified what he had built for us, right? So again, like you said, and we know plenty of fabricators here who have done things for us on this along the way that we know could build it here as well. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We have a question right here.
Couple ideas. I see a lot of retired people working as greeters at Walmart, boring. How many of those? That's got to be a huge market for people that would love to be doing this once they're retired on the beach.
You're looking at them.
This is a prime example, right? Yeah, it's exactly, this is how this whole thing started. It was kind of the joke. Listen, you need to do something because I'm tired of bringing you to the beach every day. And from that, it's turned into this.
Right. And there's another idea, was how many businesses would pay somebody to walk this up and down the beach, giving out free cheap coffee to people and advertising their business?
Right. Absolutely. And that's something that we would love to be able to do.
You're looking at the guy that's retired, and I was looking literally I'm retired, I'd like to make myself like an extra $100 a week. But I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to be working somewhere for $10 an hour, or going in and having to be somewhere at a certain time, at a certain day, whatever. And that's how this whole thing started. And actually, the first night that we did over in Canaveral, we did a Friday fest, they asked us, they said, well, bring us over and see what you do. The first night we did okay. And I went, all right, there goes the $100 a week deal, because that was like an hour. And we were there for 3 hours. So I said, okay, so apparently we did, fall into something that's, it's great for somebody that's retired, somebody that's looking for their kids without an enormous investment. Something for their wives to do, if they can find their wives to do it.
Well, I'll share
4
this.
hours a day, that's it.
Well, we're limited on time.
Oh, sorry.
So I'd like to
Okay,
would like to give one last question here.
Of course, it's so good. Before you ask the question, I've been telling them for months of how bad I felt bringing this in here. Because they bring coffee every week. And I said, listen, we're going to be bringing this card in one of these days. Please don't hold this against us. Sorry.
No, I think it's really smart because, coffee is a good business.
It's an opportunity.
Absolutely. If you're looking at a franchise or even a turnkey business, people can use it for what they want to do. But that's not my question. My question is more in the mechanical engineer aspect of when you were prototyping and designing. Did you go to regulations and looking at the Department of Agriculture or the Department of Health when doing the sanitation process and design of where you would put? Because some concession stands require a 3 sink like system, or where areas you are? And I know counties vary, but is that something that you designed it in mind?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I mean, we have, this has been inspected by the state of Florida. So we made sure that we went, in these examples, the coffee as well as snow cone, we made sure that we were compliant with those regulations, absolutely. And obviously moving forward, we want to be with continue with the other products that we make. But with these ones, we absolutely had the inspector come out and go through it with us. And of course, basically told us what we were missing and what we had to add to it, but yeah, we did.
All right, so the last question that we always ask is, what can we as a community do to help Sandboni?
Keep him busy. Buy snow cones from him on the beach. No, this was it. We wanted to present, and the feedback is what we're really looking for as well. So
Awesome, great presentation. Thank you, Sandboni.